Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So, this one is about a client's session because I like to share one of my sessions just to give you a little idea how solutions or other perspectives can change a whole problem or challenge. Let's better call it a challenge because the problem word already encompasses something where I don't want to go. It's like saying I try. This already includes that you won't get it. So I don't say I try, I do it or I don't do it. Okay, so here's the client session. I had a woman coming to me, and we had the session on the phone. As I usually work on the phone, I don't need to see the person because that's sometimes even distracting, because then I'm with my eyes on the computer where we sometimes meet online if the people want to see me. For me, only the vibration of the sound of the voice is enough to transport information and data, and I get it much easier by the vibration of the voice of the people than looking at them and all what is going on in the outside. So this woman came with kind of a difficult situation. She was telling me that she's also working with energy healing, mostly with animals, and she's a Reiki practitioner and so on. And she told me she has several horses, and the stable where the horses were was kind of falling apart. So there was a decision that was awaiting her what to do to rebuild the stable or make a new one, or maybe move because she wasn't quite content with the location. And she also told me that the landlord is a bit difficult as well, because she had some talks with him, and he's how do you call that in English? He's manic depressive. And so he has his phases, and sometimes he's very difficult. And she wasn't sure whether she could stay there with that landlord that was kind of uncalculable, and she couldn't really trust him because she didn't knew what he would do next. And so she was already into thinking about moving to another place and taking the horses with her and so on. So we started with the horses because she told me they have some kind of health issue, and she asked me whether I could look inside or sense inside and communicate with the horses what's wrong, what's going on. So I started to sense into one of the horses, the one she told me that has problems with the hooves. It's a special kind of inflammative disease that is not easy to detect in the beginning phase. And if you detect it too late, then it's very, very hard to be cured. So that was kind of a severe problem with the horse. And when I tuned into the horse, I did not get communication like with words. The horse was showing me something, and it was standing with its hooves on the ground, and it was doing this, like stamping from one hoof to the other, as if it did not like to stand there on this ground, or maybe the hooves are aching because of the inflammation, whatever. So I thought, well, I can only ask. And I asked Spirit and Archangel Raphael and Source to heal this horse and cure the inflammation in the hooves as best as possible, as long as it's not some kind of karmic lesson, because then I cannot do anything. I would take away the lesson from the person or the being, even if it's an animal, and they can't come further on their path of life if I take away that lesson, although it looks maybe not so nice from the outside in form of a disease, but in there is some kind of karmic lesson. So the soul has decided it wants to learn this lesson, so no healer can take that away, because then you're interfering with the soul contract of another being. So I asked for healing of the horse and left it like that, thy will happens and not mine. I have the intention to help, but I can only ask. And if it's not interfering, so then it will work. Okay. So I sent healing energy to the hooves and to the horse, and I had the feeling there is white light coming and something is going on and it's being worked on. And then she came with the second horse that had kind of a similar thing also in the legs, but it wasn't in the hooves. It was already like up in the knees. And that struck me because it's the second time that a horse is showing me something like the first one already showed me. The second horse was also with its hooves going up and down from the ground and moving from one foot to the other, as if it did not want to stay there or stand on this ground. And you can easily misinterpret that as if the horses are showing that she should move and go to another place with the horses and rent another house, another ground, and so on. But I wasn't sure because it was just the second time again in the so-called moving apparatus, because the legs are for movement. So the second horse had it already on the second level, let's say, the first one on the hooves and the second one already in the knees. And then I got that there is something wrong, and I tuned into the two horses more, and they were astrally like glued together, and they were both doing the same thing. And then I got it. Oh, I have to look into the ground. There's something wrong with the ground. You don't want to stand on this ground. And when I tuned into the ground, I found, something not so nice, which is quite common because all over the world we have places that are contaminated by battlefields, bloodshed, old gallow places, and so on, and all the wars and world wars. And here in Germany we have a lot of places like that. So I came across a ground that was contaminated with bloodshed, and the horses went kind of sick because they are very, very sensitive. Horses, like cats and dogs as well, can see the etheric and astral realm, and they perceive the energies. And it was as if they were standing in an ocean of blood, day in, day out. And so I thought, okay, I have to do something with the ground. I have to heal the ground. Then I asked the light and Archangel Gabriel and all the angels to heal the ground and to take away the negative, stuck, dark energy from all what happened there. With all the triggers and roots it already built into the ground since years and years and years. And I also asked to seal these spaces in the earth where the negative energy was before it was transported away from the angels, because it's more or less in the etheric, like with the body. If you have a little wound, you put on a band-aid to not get bacteria or infections into the open wound. And you do the same with places, or also in the body, because we are more than just this. We are living in a microcosm which is more or less 30 meters around you, and that contains the etheric life force body, the astral emotional body, and the mental thinking body. So you have to seal the spaces to not leave it open that any other energy of the same low quality or vibration can enter there. If you leave a vacuum, it will be filled with more or less the same or very similar energy. So I removed the energy, not I asked to remove the energy, and I asked to seal the ground. And I also asked to heal the knees of the second horse. So, and I remember another thing that's funny. When I was not aware of being a medium, I had friends in Bavaria that had horses as well, and I used to stay with them and visit them and stay there for longer weekends and so on. And sometimes I even cared for the horses because I love horses. And they once had a funny thing happening because they were going on a ride with their horses, and they were passing a path through the woods where they were laying fresh cut trees, the trunk of a tree, and with the open cut part, it was laying towards the path where they wanted to ride their horses. And they could not bring the horse to pass this tree trunk. And they tried it, and they didn't understand why. So they had to make some other round, and I didn't understand it then also, but now I do understand it, because a tree is also a living being. If you cut a tree, then etherically, more or less, it is bleeding out of from the cut in the trunk. So the horses were seeing on the invisible level kind of the stream of blood coming from this cut tree, and they did not want to pass through an ocean of blood. That's very understandable for me. If they perceive it like that, I wouldn't like to walk through something like that. And that explains much more about horses, how sensitive they are, and what most animals can perceive from the invisible realms, which we cannot perceive with these 3D eyes unless we train our psychic senses. So I asked to heal everything that's also connected with the ground, all the people, all the animals that live there, and even maybe the landlord who has, who knows, connection to the earth. He's renting to that woman with the horses. And what kind of connection he has, I don't know. And I never sense into another person without permission. If they don't know it and they don't permit it, I don't sense into anyone else, because that's interfering as well against the so-called prime directive from Star Trek. And well, the thing is, that client session really found a happy ending, which does not always happen. And I do not always get this kind of feedback about what happens after we worked and sent healing energy and tried to help the person with their challenges. So She wasn't sure about moving or not, and in the beginning I thought it looks more like she should better move because the horses are getting sick. But now that the ground was cleared and all the connections from the ground and the negative energy to all the animals and people living there were also cleared and transformed and healed. So now it was not necessary to move. She could also stay there and maybe rebuild the stable, but she could also, that's what I got very clearly, she could also move if she wanted to. So it was her choice. But the cause that caused the horses to have these symptoms in their legs and hooves, showing that the ground is kind of contaminated, the course was now removed. So now she could start there anew or move to another place. So I told her, you know, you don't have to move, but you can if you want to. But now that this is all cleared and it was because of the stuck negative energy, now maybe you can start new and fresh also there on the place and ground where you already live. It's up to you. You have to make the choice. And she was kind of content with that. And so we ended the session. And a few days after that, I got a short message from her, and that was really funny and great and wonderful and marvelous. She said that she, as a Reiki practitioner, 1 or 2 days after we had our session, she was kind of curious and wanted to go and treat her horse, the second one with the knees, and just sense into the knees, how's it going, and maybe helping with some Reiki. And she said when she approached the knees of the horse with her hands, she was kind of repelled, and she felt and got an inner picture. There are already 100 hands made out of light working in this knee and healing and transforming and helping. So she did not had to interfere there and do anything, and she stepped back and even wrote me that she had another talk with the landlord, and suddenly this guy was more confident and in a better mood and opened up some new perspectives for her. So it wasn't that urgent to get away from there with this uncalculable man who she did not know what he would do. It all bettered and it looked as if she could stay there. So I really love the image that she got, that 100 hands of the angels were working inside the knee of the horse. So this is one of the happy end stories with one of my clients, and I'd like to share that with you. Hope you get something from that, some inspiration or whatever, different ideas. Thank you for watching, dear souls. I appreciate it. Blessings, love, and light to you on your soul path. Bye.